He was sweeping the trash on a split paper plate, wondering where life was going. 16 and full of hate. He was searching for ease, but he couldn't find the connection. And walls were tumbling down in every single direction. His reality was hitting early. He realized that people in this world are cold, dirty. I asked the kid, what do you say in your head to cope with this life? And he said, life's not a fairy tale. The rich get richer, the cops, they lie. Prince Charming's a pimp, and the good guy dies. And whether I like it or not, this is what I call reality. It's all that I got. Now don't lose hope into my throat, but I couldn't speak. Trying to feed him my holy hope when he's got nothing to eat. And he says, but it's okay because I'm a man though. But the story in his eyes said it was way too much to handle. So Lord, what do I do to get through to this youth with the truth so I can direct him to you? Because I could speak, but would he be hearing me over his rumbling stomach, which abducted his liberty? That night I asked God for a plan, and he said, understand, don't only feed the spirit, but feed the man. Yeah. And so I heed to the wisdom, and I took his advice, fed the boy, and then led him to Christ, saying, don't lose hope. Digging deep within his side, finding nothing, about to fall to pieces because you're getting tired of the suffering, and you think that there's nowhere else to go, but you're getting close. Got a little more to go. Don't lose hope. He's digging deep within his side, finding nothing, about to fall to pieces because he's getting tired of the suffering, and he thinks that there's nowhere else to go, but you're getting close. You got a little more to go. Don't lose hope. And the backstory to that one, man, it was, I don't know, I think it's kind of like human nature, honestly, to like see somebody and I wouldn't say like size them up, but there are things that you assume about a person by just like looking at them. And I saw somebody that, you know, like that, and I saw myself in that person and what was going through my mind at about that age. And essentially just tried to do what I call like a lyrical portrait, you know, where you see those people at the park, those artists, those sketch artists at the park, they're like looking at somebody living their life and they're just kind of sketching out a drawing of them. And so for me, it was kind of like that same experience, except for I can't draw. So what I was doing was you look at people and they make an impact on you for some reason, and you just start writing a little bit of a narrative about their life and about a situation that you assume is going on in their life, and kind of digging back into the reservoir of your experiences of what it's like growing up, what it's like at that age of 16, and then put that in the context of his situation and his parameters. So that was kind of what led to it. That was kind of the driving force behind that. So if we do now, we're going for a line by line breakdown. When you start thinking about that image of this is something I can connect to, sweeping the trash on the split paper plate. And just to kind of, for me to start the poem there was more about letting you know about his situation in life. A lot of people have dustpans, but if you don't, you use a paper plate. I remember doing that growing up sometimes, just break the plate in half and you kind of go there. And so just kind of starting to just show a little bit of the grit, just to kind of give the listener a little bit of an idea, or the reader a little bit of an idea of what was actually the context of his life. And he's wondering where life is going. 16, we all know 16, and full of hate. He was searching for ease, but he couldn't find the connection. And walls are tumbling down in every single direction. And his reality is hidden early. He realizes the people in this world are cold and dirty. And so at this place, I remember, growing up in around that age where you're in adolescence and so on and so forth, you start to see reality start to step into view. You start to see that the good guy doesn't always win. You got to start to see that the right way isn't always the way that people will take. So I was really trying to illustrate that moment of accepting the true reality of life, in a sense, of society. So he's realizing that people in this world are cold and dirty. And so I asked the kid, now from my experience, what do you say in your head to cope? Observing his context and observing his takeaway from it, from his life. And that's when he says, life's not a fairy tale. The rich get richer, the cops, they lie. That Prince Charming's a pimp and the good guy dies. And that's very telling, you know what I mean? To come from a young mouth. It's like, what have you seen to have those types of takeaways at this type of age? Normally, people have hope as youth, and this has been clearly dashed and taken away from them. So he says, life's not a fairy tale. The rich get richer, the cops, they lie. Prince Charming's a pimp, and the good guy dies. These are just his observations. More context to this character, to this person. And whether I like it or not, this is what I call reality, and it's all that I got. And this is all essentially what he knows what to do with it. And so with me in this position, trying to tell him to don't lose hope, I have to realize his position as well. So don't lose hope into my throat, but I couldn't speak. I'm trying to feed him my holy hope. Just say, don't lose hope, and just go on with my day. And he has nothing to eat. And but he responds like a young man, like a young man would respond. He says, it's okay because I'm a man though. He says, but that story in his eyes, when people are fronting sometimes, when they say they can handle something, but then they don't have what it takes, or it's too much for them at the time. And that story in his eyes said it was way too much to handle. And this is the transition to me going to God to help this young man. So Lord, what do I do to get through to this youth with the truth so that I can direct him to you? So this is me trying to grapple with my inadequacy as far as my ability to help, and trying to gain that assistance from God. Because I know that I could speak, but would he be hearing me? Over his rumbling stomach, which abducted his liberty. And so I asked God for a plan, and then he says, understand, only feed the spirit, but feed the man. And so this kind of goes to a broader topic as far as not just treating somebody's ills, but also treating their condition, their context, and addressing that as well. So it's not necessarily about just helping that person in this one act, but sometimes this act has a root cause, and the root cause could be hunger. The root cause could be a lack of resources, so to speak. So I heed to the wisdom. I took his advice, fed the boy, and then led him to Christ, saying, don't lose hope. Digging deeper than the side, finding nothing, about to fall to pieces. So getting tired of the suffering, and you think that there's nowhere else to go, but you're getting close. You got a little more to go. Don't lose hope. So, and I repeat that portion more as kind of the mantra of the poem. I did it for a couple of reasons. One, because I don't do it normally. So I was really trying to stretch myself a little bit as far as being repetitive. Sometimes I think it's too repetitive because it's too long to be repetitive. And so when I actually look back on the poem, I had to make some adjustments just to kind of make it more personable, even at the beginning. So it used to be just sweeping the trash on the split paper plate. And then I add, now I add, so he was, or almost like in a look at him type of position. Look, he's sweeping the trash on the split paper plate. to kind of bring the audience into what's going on as far as what's being described. So, so that's kind of the end all of it. So one of the things that I do like about this is the beginning of my online poetry journey, poetry quest, whatever. So I started getting on like Instagram and all these things. And one of the things I do like about it is that you start to see different types of writing techniques, different types of writing styles, people who are approaching topics that you never thought to approach, or they're approaching the same topic, but just in a different way. So I like all of that stuff. All that stuff's been super cool to me, just kind of just starting out in this. I know these social media things, platforms have been out for so long, but this is just me kind of slow rolling into it. And one of the artists that I've seen, which I like to kind of give a shout out to, is an artist on Instagram called SL Gray. And just scrolling through her work, it's really good. So if you guys get a chance to actually check her out, please do. She actually has a book out called Skin, Bones, and Too Much Love. Just purchased it on Amazon, so it's shipping as we speak. But she has really good work. And I'm presuming that that's work that she's putting out is actually stuff that's in the book as well. So just wanted to give a shout out to another artist out there. Check her out, please. Until then, until next time, you guys have a